This video is a part of our Westward Expansion Unit. It focuses on the Oregon Trail. The trail was a 2,000-mile large wheel wagon route. It ran east to west, and it connected the Missouri River to the valleys in Oregon. What do we mean by large wheeled wagon? Well, we mean a Conestoga wagon. Pictured below are examples of Conestoga wagons. People would hitch their horses to the wagons. They would take all their belongings and their families across country in these wagons. You can imagine it was slow going, and it would have been extremely bumpy. These were also nicknamed, instead of Conestoga wagons, they were also called prairie schooners because they looked like schooners, which were boats, sailing across the prairie. So they called them prairie schooners. Here we have a map of the Oregon Trail in red. And if you'll look on the right side of the picture, which is east, the trail started at Independence, Missouri, and it snaked across the country to the valleys of Oregon, dipping down into the Mexican territory. At least it was Mexican territory till 1848. Also notice that the Republic of Texas was not annexed into the United States until 1845. What this picture does not give you is the geography of the region. The major geographical feature being the Rocky Mountains would be a huge hindrance to travel if you were in a wagon trying to cross the Rockies to get to the other side with a huge wagon and your horses. The eastern part of the Oregon Trail covers part of Kansas, all of Nebraska, and all of Wyoming. It also traverses Idaho and Oregon in the west. The trail was laid by fur trappers and traders between 1811 and 1840. They started out little by little, and so it was not done all at one time. It took many years to clear the trail. The trail was passable only on foot or horseback, and it was 1836 before the first migrant wagon train was organized in Independence, Missouri. Now, a wagon train is just that, a train of wagons. So many families would get together, and they would pay a guide to take them across the country to the west. So that was why it was called wagon train. In the early to mid 1830s, the trail was used by over 400,000 settlers. It was used by these settlers were farmers, ranchers, miners, businessmen, and they took their families with them a lot of the time. In the mid to late 1840s, gold miners headed for California also used the trail, but that's a subject for another video. The eastern part of the trail was also used by those who were on their way to the California Trail, the Bozeman Trail, or the Mormon Trail. These were three trails that went south of the Oregon Trail, whereas the Oregon Trail went north. These other three tended to go south. The trail was used for herding cattle, horses, sheep, and goats. It was used for transporting mail in the Pony Express. It was also used for shipping goods made in the east and taking them west for sale, and also goods from the west and taking them east to be sold. You can imagine how long it took for the Pony Express or these goods to arrive on one coast or the other. So that leads us to the Transcontinental Railroad. In 1869, the railroad was finally complete, connecting the east and west coast. This allowed for faster, safer, and cheaper travel and shipping options for Americans. So what's next? We're going to discuss the Oregon Trail and research it, and we're going to talk about the innovations of the 19th century, three being the steam engine, the steam locomotive, and the telegraph system. Now, talking about the Transcontinental Railroad, what good would it have been had we not had the steam locomotive? So that's just something to be thinking about as we get ready to talk about the innovations of the 19th century.